What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to the Cool Quay Show, brought to you by the Undisputed World of MMA. And fight fans, I will be giving my fight night predictions on Ian Garry versus Bilal the Bomb. Sorry, fight fans. Ian Garry versus Bilal Muhammad. Remember the name, Bilal Muhammad. Hopefully he make me remember his name this Saturday, fight fans. And that's the co-main event. I'm not done. I also will be giving my predictions on the main event, Dan the Man, the Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan, fight fans. So let's get right into it, fight fans. Do I need a drum roll? Drum roll, please. Hit the drum roll for me. Fight fans, I will be going with Ian Garry to defeat Bilal Muhammad, fight fans. I got him defeating Bilal Muhammad. I don't think this fight is going to be close, fight fans. I feel like this is a bad fight. This is a really bad style matchup for Bilal Muhammad fighting Ian Garry, a guy who's tall, rangy, long, great takedown defense, have good grappling in his backpack of his own in Ian Garry, and really know how to fight backwards. He know how to fight really good going forward. He know how to fight moving side to side. Just some really good movement and really good fight IQ than Ian Garry. Let's not forget, this is a man who made a fight look close and almost submitted Tsarukyan, the boogeyman in the welterweight division, fight fans. Ian Garry is that guy. Took the fight on short notice to fight Carlos Patres. And dominated him until the fifth round, where he almost got finished. That's how much power Carlos has in his hands. But fight fans, breaking down this fight, I just feel like Bilal Muhammad need 5 rounds. This fight is 3 rounds. Bilal Muhammad need 5 rounds to implement his game and then put his pressure as the fight goes on. As the fight goes on, that's where Bilal Muhammad looks better and better. 3 rounds. I just see Ian Garry just kicking him from range, stuffing the takedowns. With Ian Garry being the longer guy, I just feel like he's just gonna just jab, poke, kick, and just pick Bilal Muhammad apart, on the feet. I really do feel like that, fight fans. I feel like Ian Garry grappling has really improved since he's been training with Charles Oliveira at the shooter boxing training camp. I feel like his grappling has really improved. He showed me that when he fought MVP and had MVP and a lot of danger on the ground. And he showed me that in the Tsarukyan fight that his ground game has elevated, guys. It really has. He's not just a striker. And Garry's not just this phenomenal striker. He has the ground game as well. And that's why I feel like that's what make it a bad style matchup for Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad is going to have to start early in this fight, putting the pressure on Ian Garry, throwing the kicks, standing in Ian Garry's face, take one to give one, Bilal. That's what Bilal Muhammad is going to have to do in this fight, guys. Because if he don't, and he stay on the back foot, and Ian Garry is able to dictate the pace, dictate that range, and kick him. Ian Garry got some really good high kicks, some really good calf kicks. Ian Garry have. I feel like he's going to chop Bilal Muhammad legs up with those calf kicks, those leg kicks.
Neil gonna quit.
Yeah, Neil goes.
And he is walking him down.
That's another. You can't walk. You put that on him, Richard.
He don't have no answer.
Having it way.
You get a whooping.
He's having it way with Neil.
How you gonna start a whooping right here?
Neil gonna just tap out. Hey, he might want to throw the towel. That dude is walking you down.
They would have thrown the towel.
40 out.
Oh! You gonna stop it. You gonna stop it. He can't stand up. Those leg kicks, those body kicks. I feel like it's gonna be really bad for Bilal Muhammad. I just don't see Bilal in a world where Bilal Muhammad outstrikes Ian Garry. I don't see that happening unless he just land one and land a Hail Mary punch and catch Ian Garry. But man, I just don't see how he's gonna get it done. But remember, Bilal Muhammad, hey, this is a former champ, guys, we're talking about. I know he beat Leon Edwards, but he still is a former champ, so he is skilled. And he did train with with Habib and Islam and that little strap pack over there. So, Bilal has some fighters IQ. I just feel like this is a bad style matchup for him. And Ian Garry is the type of guy it's hard to prepare for because of his awkward striking, and his ability and his athleticism to be able to fight moving forward and backwards, like I mentioned. That's really, really bad. From a guy like Bilal Muhammad, who's primarily is a wrestler, has decent striking, right? His volume is striking. He throws some good kicks, good leg kicks. He stay in your face. But when you fighting a fighter that has more tools in Ian Garry with IQ, with a fighter who's faster than Bilal Muhammad and Ian Garry, and those knees that Ian Garry throw as well is gonna pay dividends in this fight when Bilal shoot for a takedown. So I will be going with Ian Garry in this fight. Don't count Bilal out. Bilal, remember the name, could get it done. And his wrestling could be too much for Ian Garry. He could get a hold of Ian Garry early and implement that wrestling. Something that Bilal didn't do in his last fight against Jack Demelena and got out and got boxed up before Mother's Day in that fight back in May. So let's see what happens. But I got Ian Garry. I feel like he's just good he's just too good on the feet. And his takedown defense is going to be just a little too much for Bilal to be able to keep up with in 3 rounds fight. I feel like Bilal needs 5 rounds to be able to wear on Ian Garry and with the wrestling and the pressure. So that's my prediction for the co-main event of the evening. I'm so excited for the co-main event. That's a fight night main event itself in Ian Garry and Bilal. But let's move on to the main event of the evening, fight fans. The Dan Man Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan, who has been calling out Superior, making videos with the mouse in his hand, running away from him, and chasing Ilia Topuria, which is the mouse that's running away from Arman Tsarukyan, fight fans. I'm not saying it. That's what he said. Arman, not me. But fight fans, can I get a drum roll, please? Another drum roll. We got 2 drum rolls in this video. Fight fans, I am going with Arman Tsarukyan to absolutely dominate Dan Hooker, fight fans. Look, listen up. I love Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's one of those guys that go in there, he scrap, he fight, he leaves out on the line. Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier is one of my favorite fights of all time. Both of those guys left out in the stretcher. Dan Hooker's is, the more tattoos he get is like the better he get, right? But I had to go with Arman Tsarukyan in this fight, guys. Arman Tsarukyan, he just an all-around just great fighter, guys. His wrestling, his grappling is on another level. That's something that Dan Hooker struggled with. I know Dan Hooker looked good against Gamrot, and Arman Tsarukyan lost against Gamrot. But fight fans, I feel like Arman Tsarukyan got robbed in that fight with him and Gamrot, guys. I really, really do. I feel like they just gave it to Gamrot, and I don't know, man. I don't know who's watching that fight, what judges they was in, watching that. But that was bad scoring, fight fans. I had Arman Tsarukyan beating Gamrot, and Dan Hooker fought Gamrot, and it was a competitive fight where he was able to get up on his feet, land his striking. But Dan Hooker's downfall has been his range. Dan Hooker does not have good range, and like the other guys that come out of city kickboxing, like Alexander Volkanovski, like Israel Adesanya, who has that great range, like Carlos Urberg, who has good range. But Dan Hooker don't have that. Dan Hooker get hit a lot, which opened up for fighters like Islam Makhachev and then Gamrot, and then Arman Tsarukyan decided to take him down and hold him down, fight fans. And that is bad because Arman Tsarukyan has, other than John Jones, Arman Tsarukyan, in my opinion, with the fights I've seen, he got some of the most nastiest ground and pound guys. When he get a hold of you in ground and pound, he slice you open, he busts you up, and he wastes no time grounding and pounding you. And I feel like that's going to be the problem coming to this fight. And Tsarukyan's, striking is a little bit more technical to me than Dan Hooker's striking. The leg kicks, Tsarukyan is very, very athletic, throwing ass kicks out there against Charles Oliveira. And if you can out-grapple Charles Oliveira and take him down and outstrike Charles, I feel like you can outstrike Dan Hooker and Tsarukyan. Tsarukyan has been in grappling tournaments, right? He's been out from the UFC, but he has been training very, very hard. He was helping Chimaev train for his fight against Dricus du Plessis. So his grappling is just getting better from that. And I just feel like Armin Tsarukyan got a chip on his shoulder. And I know they got bad blood, so I know Dan Hooker got a chip on his shoulder as well now. But I feel like Armin Tsarukyan's going to get the job done. Out-wrestle Dan Hooker, take him down, mix up on the feet, have Dan Hooker guessing, and land that ground and pound, or try to lock in a submission on Dan Hooker, because Tsarukyan got some really good submissions. And that's the reason why I was really, really fascinated to see the fight between Islam and Armin Tsarukyan, because there was a super competitive fight when Islam fought Armin Tsarukyan. It was a really super competitive fight. And that was Armin Tsarukyan. He was young. He hadn't really elevated his game just yet. But now, since he elevated his game, he has been a beast. And he's one of the best lightweights other than Superior right now. And I really want to see that fight between him and Islam. I hate he got injured. But you get to see him display his game plan, and you get to see all his skills this Saturday. Fight fans, I see him beating Dan Hooker probably by TKO, ground and pound, or by decision, because Dan Hooker, he's very, very tough. Now, it's not going to be a cakewalk for Armin Tsarukyan, but I do see Armin Tsarukyan dominating Dan Hooker, and Dan Hooker's going to make this fight very, very competitive. No doubt about it. This is a big opportunity for Dan Hooker to beat Armin Tsarukyan and be next up for the title shot. So he's going to give it his all. I just feel like that range of Dan Hooker, I don't like it. He get hit a lot. He don't use his limbs and his arms the way he should. You would think a tall, rangy, long guy like Dan Hooker can, is able to use his leg kicks, his jab effectively. You know what I'm saying? But he don't, fight fans. He don't use it like Adesanya use his range. He don't use it like Volkanovski use his range. He don't. Coming out of that gym, he's the only one that don't use his limbs very, very good. And that's going to be his downfall in this fight, guys. It really, really is. A lot of people think that Armin Tsarukyan is spoiled. He come from a rich family, Armin Tsarukyan. But, man, he's a damn hard worker. He worked really, really, really hard. That's why he's one of the best lightweights right now in the division. So I got Armin Tsarukyan getting it done, fight fans. I'm rooting for Dan Hooker. I like the tattoos he got, you know what I'm saying? Painted nails black, nails on fleek, whatever like that. But I got to go with Armin Tsarukyan, what I have seen. I feel like he beat Gamrot, like I said. I feel like that was a robbery. I'll be going with Armin Tsarukyan by unanimous decision. But I won't be surprised if he TKO or get a finish over Dan Hooker. But I got him by winning by decision. Yeah, those are my prediction, fight fans. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. If they want to see a good show, tell them about the Cool Koi show. If you already have it, check out our UFC 322 fight reaction videos. We was lit as a stick. We had a great, great time in MSG. And fight fans, I'm tuning out. You wonder, I know.
One thing abundantly clear. Every single person in this room, every interview I've done this week, they've all been talking about people from last week. This weekend, when I knock out Bilal Muhammad, I'm going to make every single other person in the welterweight division irrelevant. I am